Hey folks, welcome back. This is game three review. We're going to be talking through again the things we did well, things we need to work on, and we'll try to address those in practice. All right, so first of all, we'll start with the good. As always, you guys are making really good passing, especially advancing into the front third of the field. You're finding open passes, you're advancing the ball, you're finding breakaways. When you have the opportunity to beat a defender off the dribble, you're taking it. And then even in the box, you are looking for open passing even inside the box. So that has been really good. So we've been getting good ball movement in the box to get open passes and open shots. So that looks amazing. In terms of ball control and possession, you guys are doing it's been a little bit mixed in this last game. So you win possession, you're contested, you just got the ball, you are looking for open passing to get it to someone who doesn't have as much pressure. So that has been good. I have even seen passing back to positions more in our defensive end, just to get that pressure off. Something that we really need to be aware of is if you do a pass like this, the defender is likely to leave you to add pressure to the person behind you. So in this scenario, if you have pressure, you just won the ball. Um, you cannot advance, because you have defense in front of you. If you pass the ball back, this defender will likely shift his position to take on where the ball where the ball ends up. In that scenario, you are now open. So as a positional player, you want to find a spot where you can make a run and be available for a pass. And in this scenario, the defender is now out of the play. The defender is back here and the ball has moved up. So we want to be looking for those opportunities. When you pass, don't just stand there. You're not out of the play. When you pass, you should be thinking, do I have an opportunity to make a run that would provide us a good position for a follow-up pass? If he does this quickly, this could end up being just a two-touch. So you send the ball to him, defender moves, and as soon as the defender is behind you, you now have a great position to receive the ball back and make progress. Now, keep in mind this: you also have to keep an eye on offsides. So just be aware you have to be aware of that last defender. So another thing that you guys are doing very well is control. So especially in our defensive end, when you win the ball, um, a lot of players in this age group um, care so much about keeping the ball out of this third that they will clear it immediately. They'll just launch the ball out, and almost every time you do that, you are just handing the ball back to the defense to then build the ball back up, and then this just repeats over and over until they finally, score a goal. So I saw this maybe two, three times in the last game, um, which we need to be aware of it. But for the most part, you are not doing this. For the most part, you are winning possession. You are finding an open pass. Probably you want to do that pass out to the wing just to keep it out of the center. Or, if you are pushing it up, you are at least attempting to get it to your own player, as opposed to just launching the ball, um, to get it out of our defensive half. So that has been really good as well. Another thing is chase downs. So both on the offensive and the defensive end, whenever a ball is launched out and you have the defender and yourself both chasing after it, you are doing a very good job of closing out appropriately to the ball. So you get to the possession and then you challenge for the ball in a very calm way, with the objective of getting your body in between the defender and the ball, and then getting the ball to an open player. So you are always looking for, hey, win possession and then get the ball to someone open, um, which isn't always the case in this age group in AYSO. There's a very strong desire to push forward, and so a lot of times in these positions, regardless of the situation, regardless of how much pressure's on, there's always an attempt to push it, against the defensive position, and most of the time this just ends up in the defender contesting and eventually winning the ball, or getting the ball out of your control, and then it ends up as a free for all in the rest of the field. So you guys, you are really, really doing well at the concept of um, gain possession of the ball and then keep the ball away from the defense. So that means don't keep the ball yourself because you have the pressure. Often, you're in a situation like this. You are making the right decision of saying, I don't have the ability to make progress. I need to get it somewhere open, somewhere where we can have more time, more space to make better decisions. So that is going very well. All right, now for the things that we can work on. The name of this last game was just effort. Honestly, it was just effort. On the defensive end, you guys are doing a pretty good job at defense. I did see this one really, really positive scenario that happened. I don't recall exactly who was involved in it, but there was pressure from the defense. They had the ball. They're advancing. Someone came. Someone covered, and there was a defender here. This defender did the right thing. Instead of coming up to add a second person to the ball, they came behind. So they came behind the primary defender, and then once they were in position, I actually heard them yelling dig. So they are here as a secondary line of defense. They yelled dig, and then this player won the possession, attacked the ball, uh, and actually what happened was there was some separation. So the defender tried to make a push, pushed the ball out, and as soon as that happened, the defender stepped in and boxed them out and just said, "Hey, my job now is to make sure that this player cannot get to the ball." And this player didn't even try to touch the ball. He just stood there keeping the other player away from it. It was it was exactly what I want to see in defense. So his objective was prevent this player from getting to the ball, knowing that he had someone behind him who came up and they got possession of the ball. And now they have both someone providing a blocking force from the opponent, and they have space. And I believe what happened in this scenario was there was a midfielder, and they were able to make a pass over here. So this example was an incredible example of team defense, that you don't try to defend and win the ball and then make progress on your own. Everyone thinks that like good defense is guy comes up, you steal the ball, and then you bring the ball up the field. That is not good defense. That is hero defense. We don't play as heroes. We play as a team. So the right thing to do is you cover, you move laterally, you try to uh, you try to get the opposing player to go towards the sideline because the sideline is the absolute best defender, um, and you just prevent him from making progress towards the goal or towards the middle. And so that's what this player did. And then when there was an opportunity, when this player said, "Hey, I got an opportunity to make a drive here," they pushed the ball out in front and then immediately cut off the body of this player. That was a really good job. Now there were some negatives on defense, and we got to work on those. Um, More often than we should be happy with. Um, this defensive style actually came into play, and I saw this And we really have to, it's hard to break this habit, but we have to break this habit. We cannot do this. It's called diving. So this defensive player, regardless of whether they have someone behind them or not, um, they can never just jump at the ball. So um, I saw this a number of times where they're coming in and they think, hey, I think I can make contact with the ball and dislodge it from the player. And that is not an effective way of playing one-on-one defense. The the thing that you want to do is you want to keep both feet on the ground. Do not ever lift your foot to try to touch the ball. um, you keep your feet on the ground until there is separation. When there's separation, you either, your second option, not your first option, your second option would be to make contact with the ball. But your first option is again, keep your feet on the ground and get your body in between the player and the ball. So, there's so much of attention in defense to try to contact the ball. Do not try to make contact with the ball. Your objective is to separate the ball from the attacking player. And most times, the effective way of doing that is never touching the ball. It's getting yourself in between the player and the ball. In this situation, then you can make a decision. And it really depends on who's around. So if in the scenario that we just showed, if there's another defender here, they can be the one responsible for coming and gaining possession of the ball. If that position doesn't exist, then this player can make some decisions. Um, it could be that they pass back to another player. It could be that they actually, can do a dribble towards the sideline just to get you away from the box. They can make if they have a clean pass to an open player, they should make it. And then they should always think, hey, can I get it to my goalie? So the goalie is in a great position, to be able to clear the ball anywhere you like. And this is actually a really good um, position to be in. The goalie is always a really good option because of the offsides rule. So when the player is coming in and in this initial position, if you're the last defender especially, all the other players have to stay behind you or else they're offsides. So if you get into this position where you are able to momentarily gain possession or gain separation from the player and the ball, then a good opportunity is to get it back to your keeper because it is pretty likely that there is no one near that keeper. And he can make a decision about switching the field, about possibly just giving it back to you. So we talked again about the defender rushing and then you ending up being open. So the defender rushes in, you are not standing still because you know that you need to be an option. So you pull wide so that the keeper has a good option to come back to you. So this is a great way to do it. Now you're wide open, you have no defense, and you can make progress up. So again, separation, get it to an open player, check the goalie. The goalie should be calling for it. If you are there and you get separation, the goalie should be saying back to me. He should be calling for you to pass to him because he can see the field. He knows whether or not he has the time to gain possession of the ball and then to move it somewhere clear. If he does not call for it, you want to be really careful because if there happens to be someone running in, and it's goalie on one person, they can't pick up the ball. It's going to be a dangerous scenario there, but they're always an option. All right, so defense. Do not swing for the ball. Do not ever lift your foot off the ground in this scenario. Keep your feet on the ground, move laterally, get them to the sideline. Do not ever lift your foot to try to make contact. When when you get separation, that's the only time when you can do that. And then the very last thing that I'll talk about is just effort. Too many times we had this scenario. Um, Defense was pushed up on the rest of the field. Midfielders were not getting back, and we left this person all alone to defend. So what we need to do is, if you ever see that there's only one man back, and especially if you see that there's nobody back, but in this scenario, This is not effective defense. So these players here cannot just think, oh, he's got it. There always, always, always has to be somebody behind. And in fact, if they have possession of the ball, the positioning needs to be that it's demanded that if the other team has the ball on our half, every defender is behind the ball. Every defender is here. Every midfielder has to be at least to the midfield. You cannot stay up here. So as soon, the very second that they win possession of the ball, if they are in our half, this is you are not allowed to be here. These positions, if you find yourselves in these positions and they are in our side of the field, you as an individual have a responsibility to get behind the ball, and midfielders have to at the very least get to the midfield. That has to happen every time they win possession and are in our side of the field. All right, I'm going to stop it there so we don't go too long. But again, thanks guys for watching. We'll work on this in practice. You guys did an amazing job in the game. There's tons of things that you did amazingly well that I didn't even cover here. Um, but just know that you're looking really good, and by far the biggest advantage you have is trusting your teammates, making the passes, not trying to force the ball on dribbles. You are trusting your team, you're finding the open spot, and you are finding places to be on offense, um, where you can get that open pass. So you guys are doing a great job.